Welcome to Diary of an Ex-Ho. My name's Cheri Hardman. I'm your ex-ho. Please welcome today's guest, Corey Bennett. Enjoy the episode, sit back, relax, and remember the old saying, always a bridesmaid when you're a hoe. I'm here today with Corey Bennett. How are you today, Corey?
I am doing good. I love this weather so much. It's warm and sunny.
I know, and we're both inside doing this. Oh, well, we
Hey,
can go out
there's a
after.
window in front of me. It's fine.
um, so, we know each other from doing comedy. How long have you been doing comedy?
I have been doing it 2 years. This June will be my second anniversary.
Wow. All these people that I think like are new, they always say they're in 2 years, and I'm like, oh, that time goes by fast, like.
Yeah, it really does. Like I moved into this place like right after I started doing comedy, so I always think about like that. I'm like, oh yeah, that's when I started.
Now, where do you live, or like, where do you live? Where's your home base? Where's your home clubs? Where do you usually perform?
Olympia. So I live in Olympia. I live right near downtown. Every other week, I host an open mic at Hannah's, Mondays at 7 p.m. And then there's an open mic in Lacey every week that I try and go to, and then usually Tacoma.
Wow. What do
How
you
about
think
you? Where are
about
you at?
what? I'm Federal Way, so I'm basically Tacoma.
Gotcha.
I go up to Seattle sometimes. Um, but Seattle's a little different.
Yeah,
They,
it's a bit of a
they,
trek too.
they still like me there, but they're just a little tighter.
Yeah, for
Just
sure.
a little tighter, which is fine. We work with what we got.
Exactly.
What do you think of the Olympia comedy scene? Is it good?
It's pretty good. It's gotten really big. Like when I first started, I think there was maybe one open mic over on the west side, and now it's like there's two, there's three. I think there's one on Tuesdays now. I don't know if that's still going, but it's gotten really big. Like comedy has blown up since I've started doing it.
Well, that's good. It's a good thing. We always need more
Yeah.
laughter. But today, we're here to talk about sexual things. And okay, well, first thing I'm just going to ask you, this just came into my head. Have you hooked up with anybody because of comedy or through comedy in any way?
No, I have not. I actually usually when I go to a show, I'm like the only gay person there. So there's not a lot of dudes for me to hook up with.
What about in audiences? No.
No.
Hmm. You're just
I don't think I've
alone,
ever. What's that?
just a lone gay dude just drifting around with no.
Just a lone ranger. I don't think I've ever actually hooked up with someone I met like out in public. It's always been through the apps.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like
Huh.
even when I go to like the gay bars in Seattle, I've never like met somebody that I hooked up with. Usually we talk on the apps first and then we meet in person.
How old are you?
29. I'll be 30 in 3 weeks. Woohoo.
Oh, yeah.
I
Are you a Gemini?
am.
Me too. All right.
Yes.
I love Geminis. Okay. So like, are your parents still together?
No, my mom passed away back in 2010. But they were together up until she died. And
Okay.
they were together like 25 years.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry about your mom, first of all.
Thank you.
Do you remember like affection, like visibly between your parents? Do you think they were
Um,
affectionate towards each other?
a little. Like it was never like frequent. It was usually like a kiss goodbye, kiss hello, they hugged each other. Um, but they weren't super affectionate. Like they
Mm-hmm.
were. But my stepmom and my dad currently are very affectionate with each other.
Yeah.
Like when they got together, I was like, what's happening here?
Yeah, that's always kind of a hard one, like the one that replaces mom or, yeah, whether it's through divorce or death. Uh,
Yeah.
I remember, yeah, that when my dad and stepmom was like, gross,
Right. And like thankfully I love my stepmom. She's great and they have a really good relationship. So that
Uh-huh.
is nice. But
Yeah.
I definitely notice the differences between them and my parents.
Um, okay. So did your parents like teach you anything about sex, or did you learn that all?
No.
Oh,
My mom didn't want to touch the subject because she thought that was my dad's job, and my dad and I never really had a conversation about it. Like, I remember I would ask him stuff here and there when I started masturbating as a
mm-hmm.
middle schooler, but we never really got into the birds and the bees. And then most of it I learned like from the internet or in school.
Right.
And I went to Christian school, so like it wasn't exactly comprehensive sexual education.
Learned it from the hard streets of the Christian school.
Yeah.
Um, well, people probably know stuff, but it's probably not that accurate there, I would guess. Um, okay, like so think back to when you first started having those feelings. It's what I call a sexual awakening. You could take it any way you want. Like when you first
Yeah.
started realizing, well, there's something that goes on here that I've been unaware of. Do you remember that? Like maybe your first crush or the first time you masturbated when it first started to wake up. Tell me about that.
A little bit. Like I grew up really Christian, so I didn't even like consider that I was into dudes until maybe I was like 16. But looking back, I see lots of moments where I'm like, oh no, I was definitely like attracted to this person. Like
Mm-hmm.
almost as far back as like kindergarten.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like I remember being really into like other guys and fascinated by their bodies. And I remember in kindergarten there's this one guy, or I guess this one kid, and I just like thought he was the coolest person. And I thought he looked really cool and sounded really cool. And looking back on it, I'm like, there was something happening there. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I don't think it was sexual, but it was definitely an
Right.
attraction of some sort.
Like a crush. Um,
Yeah.
so what does that feel like to when you have that realization as a teenager? Is there, especially I came from a religious Christian background too, and I just a built-in feature of that is a lot of guilt and shame usually.
Yeah.
So was there that about being gay?
Oh, absolutely. Like, I mean, I remember times when, like, I wasn't allowed to be super girly or feminine or anything like that. So there was always that level of shame.
Hmm.
But I remember when I first started getting comfortable with the idea of liking guys, I kind of found it exciting. Like, it was a little bit of a secret. It was kind of rebellious. Like, um, yeah, it was interesting. It was weird.
Well,
Very
there's
complicated.
some hotness that comes with that.
Yeah,
Shame and
totally.
yeah, I get that. I mean, I do. How important is sex to you, like on a scale of 1 to 10?
Oh God, it's like a 9.
Mm.
Um, I have a really high sex drive, so having sexual compatibility with a partner is really important.
And you're single now, like you're not with
Yeah.
somebody? Okay. How long has it been since you've had like a serious partner?
I've only had one boyfriend, and that was in college. Um, I've dated a few people, and it like lasted a couple of months, but like there's been guys I felt really serious about, but I've only had a year-long relationship, and that was back in like high school or not high school. It was in college, so I was like 2012, 2013.
Okay, and why is that? Just haven't met the person, or you don't really want that, or what do you think?
Men are bad. No, I just haven't found someone I connected with. Like I kind of have ended up with guys that I really like them, and they usually don't feel the same way, or like the connection just isn't there. Um, so I don't know. I'm
Mm-hmm.
also picky with people. I don't get along with most people. So
Like that. Like, are you a bitch, or are you just
no, I'm just shy, which is weird because I do comedy. But
No, no, so I'm shy too, so I get that, and it's sometimes that makes it really hard to let people in.
yeah, and I think
Uh,
also just I don't click with as many people. Like I don't feel comfortable around a lot of people. Like I can usually tell when I am, but there's like I only have a few close friends, um, and just when it's someone that I'm going to be spending like a large amount of time with and be intimate with, my bar is a lot higher.
right, that makes sense. Um, so there's a what do I call it? There's an idea that gay men are very promiscuous, and that a lot of it is just hookup culture.
Hmm.
What do you think about that stereotype?
I think it's definitely true. I think that, I mean, we're men, and I have a joke that men are all slutty and superficial. And with gay men, it's just doubled up because, it's two men. Um, but that is definitely a thing. Like, there's a lot of hookups. I mean, one of the first dating apps I think was Grinder, and that's pretty strictly a gay hookup app.
Right. Okay. What's your favorite porn category?
Ooh, I like amateur stuff. Like, I like real people. I get kind of bored with like the super hot, super fit porn
Uh-huh.
people.
Yeah.
Um, but I kind of have a range of stuff. I like some of the BDSM stuff. Um, big dick stuff is always fun. I like lots of porn.
Do you remember like uh a mainstream movie that you saw that you thought had like a really like hot love scene in it that stuck with you?
Hmm. I honestly don't know if I can. Like, the first thing that comes to mind was Brokeback Mountain, but like that had a pretty hot scene, but also the movie was really sad. So it kind of killed all the sexiness.
Right, right. Okay,
Um, yeah, I don't know if there is one.
okay. All right, now, what's your definition of amazing sex?
Ooh, I like longer sessions. So like if a guy has some stamina and goes a while, that's nice. I think the best sex is obviously with a connection, like someone I know and have been with a few times. Um, but I like longer sections. I like lots of body contact, like making out. I'm pretty easy to please.
Um, yeah, wait till you watch this back. Yeah, there was like a smile in there that was like when you said stamina or whatever, then you like your face just lit up. So, um, what are your? I haven't asked anybody else this. What are your boundaries? And what is there? Is there anything that you just will not do?
I don't do pain or humiliation at all. Like I enjoy like some of the BDSM stuff, like getting tied up and like dom sub stuff. I think that's hot. But once like someone starts calling me names, once like you hit me or like, you know, you're causing any sort of like physical or emotional pain, I'm
Mm,
out.
yeah.
No,
Do you have any like weird places where you've had sex?
lots. One of
Okay.
the guys I dated right after college, our first date involved us having sex on the beach up in Mukilteo. That was pretty fun.
Like during the day, just
It was at night, so like we waited till it was dark out because
uh-huh,
we didn't get caught.
right.
And we
Uh,
almost did. There was like a group of teenagers that walked by and we're like, shit, what do we do?
um, I personally like that thrill of getting caught thing.
Yeah.
My husband, on the other hand, does not like there. If there's any way we're gonna get caught, there's no way he's gonna be into it, and so I miss
Right.
that. So I'm gonna start asking people about their public sex just so I can live vicariously through them.
Perfect. Yeah, public sex is fun. Like, I mean, I've done it in cars, I've done it, out in the woods in a park somewhere. Like, it's fun.
I did it in the front seat of a Fiat once.
Ooh,
I
nice.
was much smaller then.
Car sex is hard. Like,
I couldn't do
especially if you're a bigger person, like,
it. Yeah,
even under normal circumstances, it's hard to maneuver in there.
it is. Uh, Back in my day, though, we had like big back seats. There was a lot of big old boat cars that we drove around.
Yeah.
Uh, is there anything on your sexual bucket list that you haven't done yet?
Um, honestly, I don't think so. I've kind of done a lot of the stuff that I've always wanted to do. Um, like I've been tied up a few times, got fucked in a sling once. That was cool. Uh,
You had,
outdoor sex. Yeah. Usually if there's something I want to do, I'm like, let's go do it.
have you had a threesome?
No, I've never really been interested in having group sex. Like
Oh,
I like one-on-one stuff. Too much to
okay.
pay attention
You,
to.
you sound like you should be a person in a relationship.
Probably.
Hmm. All right. Well, if anybody would like to date Corey, We'll start like a hookup show instead of just about sex show.
A dating podcast. I love it.
Yeah, why not? Uh, I think I've asked all the questions that I have. Is there anything that we didn't touch on that you would like to talk about?
Ooh.
Or any good stories you want to tell me, or just anything?
Let me think. Um, I do have a question. I'm interested in like the differences between like kind of straight culture and like gay culture,
Okay.
kind of touching on that hookup stuff. How many sexual partners would you say you've had?
Um, all right. Right now, if my husband is watching this, don't listen because
Yeah,
he doesn't
turn it
want
off.
to know this number. He wants, and I've told him not to watch this podcast. But let's say I quit counting at 125.
Okay. Yeah, I'd say I'd quit counting around there too. Um,
That's kind of pointless after that. It's like,
yeah. But I find it interesting because like I don't even know if it's a real statistic, but one of the things I heard is like the average person has like 7 sexual partners in their life. And I'm like that I don't know anybody who has had that, both
I know
straight or gay.
I read those too, and it's like that's got to be bullshit. Well, go. I do know for sure that women lie about this kind of shit
Yeah, I
because
would
I've
believe that.
heard a woman say how many men she's been with, and I'm like I personally know that that's a lie.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people lie about that. Now, I was considered, and probably and still am, even though I'm faithful to my husband now, but
Hmm.
like a big old whore
Yeah.
at my number. Like, oh yeah, I'm the biggest, dirtiest slut in the world. Apparently, as far as other people are concerned. So
Right.
I don't think most women have that number. At least women that grew up at my. I don't know though.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because with gay men, it's like, we all are like triple digits, like
Oh
sex
yeah.
is super
Oh yeah.
common.
Yeah.
Uh like there's kind of this running joke where it's like, I'm the whore of my straight friends, but like the chaste person of my gay friends.
Yeah. Now my husband, he's probably like at 5,
I can't even imagine.
but that's the difference between us, he and I.
Yeah.
It's probably a lie too. So let's say it was probably like 7 at the most.
Right.
But
Yeah. Like my best friend, she's had I think maybe 5 or 6. Like she's never really hooked up with anybody.
maybe
Um,
I should just start asking everybody on this podcast what their number is and see if they'll say.
that'd be
And
fun.
just assume that they're all lying.
Yes. I do think it's really interesting that like people are so like nervous and closed off about sex. Because part of the reason I want to do this podcast is like my being like the Christian upbringing. It's like you don't talk about it. Like it's a secret. It's shameful. And now as an adult, I find myself leaning into it. I'm like, let's talk about sex more. Like,
No, I really think people should talk about it. And like I said, I was in the same kind of upbringing. My parents were kind of like I remember there was a kid that had acne in our church group,
mhm.
and my parents always made jokes about uh, what is it? They say if you had acne, you masturbated or something like that, or
Weird.
was it like if you didn't have sex, you had acne? There was some like old wives' tale, but not like hair on the palms for masturbating, but it had something to do with acne. And I
Oh, I've
remember
never
my
heard that
parents,
one.
they would openly joke about stuff like that. Or if my
Hmm.
mom said was on her period, my dad would say, "Well, your mouth's not bleeding." So I mean, they made jokes about that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
but expected us to not do anything like that.
Yeah. My parents did not make those kind of jokes. Like, my mom was very much like she didn't like talking about it.
Hmm.
Um, they were very like gendered. Like, it was okay to talk about it if you're a woman with women and if you're a man with men, but like you kind of keep those lines separate.
Right.
Um, but I find it funny because my dad has like a really dirty sense of humor. Like there was always like a joke among our family where it's like you just say the word panties and he just erupts into giggles. Like,
That's funny.
yeah.
Um, so when did you come out?
Which time? I came out to my parents several times.
Oh, really?
Um,
Why?
because they would just like lecture and like be upset
Oh,
and then just kind of forget about it and then it would come out again later somehow. But I think I officially came out to them when I was like 16 or 17. Like it wasn't very long before my mom died that I came out.
And they were not like cool with it.
No, not at all.
You make
They
your, did you make peace with your mom about that before she died or no?
No, not really. We just kind of like swept it under the rug, which was a bummer. And my dad is not quite like accepting and supportive, but he's not like he doesn't disparage me for it. Like he still like will ask if I'm dating somebody or like, he'll
Hey, at least he asked. That's a lot for, I think, a lot of
totally. Like
those
I know a
people.
lot of gay guys in a lot worse situations with their parents, so I'm grateful for that.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but I had a gay son.
Oh, really?
And yeah, he committed suicide last summer. And I don't want to bring this down, but all his life we thought he was gay. Like when he
Yeah,
was little, he'd follow me around. Mom, I want to help you scrub, and all my gay friends would come over and go, "Oh, that guy kid is so gay."
that's
And
cute.
so I always made sure that he knew that nobody cared if he was gay. Like if he was gay, we were going to be just happy as a clam. And it wasn't until like just a few months before he died, and I'd always ask him every few months, like, "Are you sure you're not gay? Like, is there
Mm,
anybody that you like?" And no, he was straight.
yeah.
But then one day he started came and he started bringing his boyfriend here, and they were sleeping on this like little futon right in here, like and
Mhm.
night after night. And finally I'm like, come on, he's got it. So I said, is that your boyfriend? And he said, yeah. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I just
Yeah.
wondered, like, why did he wait so long? But I guess he did it when he was ready to say it.
Yeah, and even when you have super accepting family members and parents, like the world at large still is kind of like it can be a little
Mhm.
scary. It's gotten a lot better since when I was a kid, but I got that messaging from pretty much everywhere, not just my parents.
Yeah, yeah. And it's weird because he told me like a year ago, a year before that, like I was talking about getting together with my mom and brother and sister and stuff. He's like, I don't care if I ever see those people again. And I
Meh.
thought, that's a weird thing to say. And I asked his boyfriend after he died, why do you think he said that? And he's like, I think that he thought they wouldn't accept him. And they were all religious people. And
Yeah.
so there was that. So it's too bad.
Yeah, that sucks. But I'm sure he knew you would and your family would have been accepting. Like you can usually you're aware of that. Like my sister um was definitely like my godsend during that time because her reaction was pretty much like yours. It was like, oh, okay, cool.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And I think that's the best reaction people can have.
Right. Right. And it's too bad. One of my friends in high school, when he came out, his mom like disowned him.
Yeah.
And he and his mom were super close. So it really just like he was devastated. Well, then she
Yeah.
ended up coming around and being like the president of the uh, P flag, like way up in P flag. So people do come around.
They do. I think once parents kind of realize their kids become adults and they're like, oh, they don't have to have a relationship with me, then they kind of start reevaluating
Uh,
their
yeah.
relationship.
Yeah.
But it's weird. I just don't know why anybody cares. Like,
Right. I don't
but
get why either.
like to me, it's like a preference, and you also like. I think of it like you don't even really control like what you're interested in. Like you could like tuna sandwiches, you could like ham sandwiches, and it doesn't matter. No one cares. And you also don't really choose to like stuff. You just kind of naturally do. So I don't know why people are like, so up in arms
I
about it.
think it's funny that you use tuna sandwiches as one
I know,
of the.
only a little intentional.
Did you do that on purpose? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, next time you do that, just say tuna sandwiches are hot dogs.
Perfect. That's way better.
Oh, well, I guess men could be ham sandwiches. All right. Well, this has been fun. I really
Yeah.
feel bad that I drug it down with my dead son story. So that might
Don't
have
be.
to come out. I don't know, but
That's all right.
I don't know. I think it's important that that people have somebody they can come out to. That's
Yeah,
just
for sure.
they can just totally like be themselves with. So if anyone needs someone to come out to, give me a call.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what do you got going on the rest of this weekend?
Nothing. I was in Seattle the past 2 weekends. I did a couple shows and hung out with some friends. So this weekend, I'm just like, I'm not doing anything. I'm staying
Yeah.
home.
Well, it's nice weather. You can go out and have a picnic in your.
Might find someone to hook up with. We'll see.
All right. Oh, good. Well, it's
What about
been
you?
really nice talking to you. Is there, how can people follow you? Like, what's your Instagram handle or?
I am Corey B Comedy, Corey. B as in boy, comedy everywhere. Then come show up at Hannah's at 7 p.m. in downtown Olympia. I may not be there because I only do it every other week, but it's every week, so come show up.
I'll have to come check that out.
Yeah, it's a fun room.
All right. Well, it's good talking to you, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
You too, Cheri. Thanks so
All
much.
right. Bye bye.
Bye.